Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's Tourism Excellence Show. We love our Tourism Excellence Show. This is the final episode of, well, we'll say part 9, final episode of our Excellence in Tourism series on how to put the I back into community through a responsible tourism plan, and it incorporates the 8 keys of excellence. Now, we're your hosts, Nancy Reed and Lisa Smith. We're the mother-daughter travel team and publishers of Big Blend magazines. You can check that all out at BigBlendMagazines.com. And of course, if we're going to talk about excellence, we always have to have the queen of excellence on the show. That is Bobbi DePorter. She is the creator of the 8 Keys of Excellence. It's a really amazing program to get involved with your family, especially if you're a school as well. Go to 8keys.org for that. She is the co-founder of SuperCamp, which is the world's leading summer academic achievement program for teens and preteens. And when it comes to the education side for teachers, she is the president of Quantum Learning Network. Now go to supercamp.com, so QLN.com, 8keys.org. It's all up on our site. Go to nationalparktraveling.com. We have the article about balance, which is our key of excellence that we're going to be talking about today. And you'll see all those links there as well. So welcome back, Bobbi. How are you?
I'm doing really great. Good to be back.
That's a lot of websites. But everyone could go to SuperCamp and find everything. SuperCamp, this is the world's leading summer academic achievement program for teens and preteens, right? So you're across the country and around the world with this.
Yes, we are. We're in about 14 countries now, and it's we keep having new ones come on board. So it's really exciting. They just hear about it and make connections, and we're growing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And it's how many years now? We're looking at 2020. I know right now we're recording this in December, but 2020, and I think, we're talking about balance, and that's like the best key to start 2020 with, I think. But how many, when you think about how many years is 2020?
Well, we're going into our 39th summer. So
wow.
I can't hardly believe it. And, we have so many parents that attended the program themselves, so it's multi-generation for quite a few years now.
You're catching up with my age, Bobbi. We'll always have those few years apart, but Super Camp is going to be middle-aged yet. Here it is. It's happening.
I know. It's so funny when I meet some of the parents who attended Super Camp. I always say, "And where did you attend? And where was it?" And then I would go, "I was there with you when you were a kid. I was there with you." So
oh my gosh,
that was fun.
Yeah,
That's fun. I like it.
I even think about our conversations over the years. I mean, you've been with us since we started the radio show, and 2020 is like, I think 12 years, Nancy, and over 23 years of publishing. It's kind of crazy. I don't know, 2020 seems cool. And I think when we think about balance, 2020, isn't that balance right there, just in the numbers? Can I be like that?
It is. It is. I love the year 2020. I mean, we talk about it, being 2020 vision. And so we have an annual vision day here. And we had the theme of 2020 vision and clarity. So we gave all of our staff glasses that were 2020, like for New Year's Eve. And it's fun, but it was just really feels special. 2020 does feel special.
Yeah, and when you say here, that is the Quantum Learning Center. You have this conference center in Oceanside, California, where we used to live. And now, of course, Nancy and I are on the road full-time on our Love Your Parks tour. But Oceanside, one of the most beautiful cities, downtown, historic downtown, just beautiful right on the beach. You have the amazing pier, the band shell, and then, of course, you've got Camp Pendleton there as well. So that's your hub. And so you have a lot of people come to you throughout the year with Quantum Learning Network, where you're doing educational programs for teachers too.
We have so many different events in the building, and it's, the nicest thing was said. We had a chamber event in our building, and we had over 100 people, and there was a mixer. And one of them came up to me and said, our center has really added so much to the community, because there are so many meetings and so much
Mm-hmm.
activity that goes on in the city, and it's just a really comfortable place for people to get together and feel relaxed and make connections and know what's going on. And I get to sit in my office and see this all going on. So
Cool.
I always say sometimes I feel like I'm, sitting in a candy store because I'm sitting here in all these wonderful events and speakers and all kinds of
Weddings.
things are going on, and the next weddings are going on in the next room, and I get to see them all.
Do you ever get quinceañeras that
Oh,
happen?
all the time. Almost
Oh,
every Saturday night. It's either a
How fun.
quinceañera or a wedding almost every Saturday night. And also Fridays and Sundays afternoons and you name it.
I know, because we've been in your
I
office, all glass, you've got the glass office and you can see all the, landscaping outside. It's all green and pretty and flowery. And I think there's something about when you enter Quantum Learning, the Network Conference Center, you've got this fountain. And there's something about the fountain that just kind of, as you walk in, you could have gone through traffic, which I've done. I remember once being late for a meeting with you through just not getting the traffic and miscalculating, and I was all frazzled, like, you can't be late, because that's one of my things in life, is to be early, and 15 minutes early. Nancy, thank you for that.
mm-hmm.
But then I'm all frazzled, and I'm
Yes.
Nancy now really regrets that, because I'm always, come on, we got to go now. We got to go
No,
now
we
as we
do.
travel.
You always have to be 15 minutes early.
I know.
You do.
And then we were running late, and I'm like freaking out, and then it got to the fountain, and I'm like, okay, you can calm down now. So there's something about your fountain. I just want to say that.
Yes. And people sit around it and um they just wait there. You see
Mm-hmm.
people
Really?
just sometimes staring at the water, sometimes they're
Mm-hmm.
on their phone, or you see kids putting their finger in it and splashing, but it's a meeting place.
I love this. And this kind of goes into our conversation of tourism and balance, right? So there's the 8 Keys of Excellence. Again, character education program for uh, kids, families, an amazing program for schools. If everyone go to 8keys.org, especially schools, something really that you can connect with and create all kinds of cool projects. We've interviewed teachers over the years and seen just, how their study projects go with this. And, as Nancy and I travel the country on the Love Your Parks tour and started doing speaking engagements on tourism, responsible tourism, just notes from the road. This is what we see, what we experience. Um, and having been in the tourism industry, Nancy was like, hey, we got to bring the 8 Keys in, because every time we
Oh, yeah.
started to talk with shop owners, hoteliers, the towns, the cities themselves, the city, the actual city, or, the chambers of commerce, we realized that the dialogue, actually, the 8 Keys guided us. That was our guiding dialogue. And it was good because it starts with integrity. And then there's also the 1 key, speak with good purpose, that we find is very useful when you're dealing with a community that may be going through a change or a dilemma. And so Nancy was like, well, I want to write the 8 Keys of Tourism Excellence, and, with the foundation of the 8 Keys of Excellence. So Bobbi, just before we get into it, the 8 Keys of Excellence, this is something that really is the foundation of Super Camp, right?
It is. It's very much the foundation, and with all of our programs. And what we're finding all these generations later, that people say, they remember the keys and they help guide them and feel like they've become a part of them.
Mm-hmm. So it's only right that we can, oh, go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have a group of people and they're all coming from the same principles, you can really get something done.
Yeah.
It's like the core beliefs. But if they're coming from personal gain and not core principles that are shared, then nothing ever gets done, and meetings can be kind of uncomfortable, and things can not really benefit the community. So when we look at communities, and there's a lot of drama connected to tourism when it's done in the wrong way, and there's ways to do tourism in the right way, but you have to have people who have a core belief that all of them understand. And that's what I like about the 8 Keys. It's like, if you get these core principles, then when you have a meeting, you can come from that place. And then you can get something done. But if everybody comes from personal wants, nothing gets done.
Yes, and it's everybody making agreement to live the key. Then like organizational wide, it makes a big difference. At Super Camp, we start with everyone agreeing to agreements, and to live them.
Yeah.
And instead of just having people, okay, raise your hand, where you can't really tell if somebody didn't raise their hand, we have everybody stand up and then sit down if you agree. And if somebody doesn't, they're the lone person standing up. So
Oh, you better be strong then. You better be strong about it.
That's cool.
It's
I
just
like
a great
that.
strategy.
Oh, wow. Because it's so funny because even in communication, like I get excited about stuff. Like Nancy and I'll have our meetings and I start standing up. Like it's almost like not it's almost not it's not polite, but it's like you're standing up, the other person's sitting down. And I get excited. I'm like, no, I got to pace, got to do this and that. And she's like, you calm down, sit down, let's have a conversation. But I'm always standing up. And she's always like, can you just sit down? Can you just like not be standing up and bouncing around? Because but that's in you. I think when you want to be strong, you got to stand up. So that's interesting. If you're going to say, okay, I disagree with what you're all saying, I'm going to stand up, then you better come with it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's
it adds the integrity and just the claim. You can't just slide by, oh, nobody saw it. Nobody saw me, or so.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nancy.
No, I just think it's interesting how people work, and when I've looked at all these keys and we've gone through them over the years, and I feel like you have to, like, in order to attain balance, you have to do the other 7. You really have to work through each of it to get to that final balance. And balance sounds like it should be really easy, but I don't think it's that easy to attain.
No.
And so, when we're looking at tourism in a community and committee members, then the community is hoping, praying, and relying on that committee to make the right steps for their future. So if those people aren't balanced, then what happens to the community?
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
it's like tourism doesn't work without the community, and the community doesn't work without the people. So it always boils down to the 8 keys being the individual, right? So Bobbi, let's go through the 8 keys. So you say, the personal part, and we'll say what we've adapted into the tourism part of excellence. So the first key of excellence is my favorite, integrity. So tell us what integrity is on the 8 keys of excellence.
Yes, we define integrity as matching behavior with values, and demonstrate your positive personal values in all you say and do. Be sincere and real. And I think about, first of all, knowing what your values are, being really clear, and then looking at your behavior and how it's congruent with that value or not. And you know the difference. So it's a very, very powerful key.
You feel good. Like, and if you go against it, you're not gonna sleep at night, really. At the end of the day. Integrity, what we came up with for on the tourism side of excellence, is provide a sense of place. In other words, are you keeping your historic buildings? Are you keeping your history? Are you keeping the nature? Some things may have to change, but you don't want to lose your identity of a place. So it's provide a sense of place, define your community identity, and showcase its positive values. And that goes into, again, everything we're talking about in tourism, right, Nancy, is community. It's like, take care of your community, and that means it's responsible tourism. When we talk about tourism, it is responsible, it's sustainable. In other words, people come in and they're the right people that you invited into your house, right, Nancy?
Well, it's a mix too, because we all read these stories about, in Spain there like 40,000 people went down on the beach and nobody was happy because it was so crowded, and that's just an obvious lack of knowing how to control and publicize what you have and control it. And so the dollar, okay, the dollar comes into play, and those who want the dollar before they want sustainability are the ones who push for, no, get the money, get it now, get them all in, no matter whether they have a good time or not. A few years later, nobody comes back because they didn't have a good time because it was too crowded. So then, maybe they got their money and left the building, but most of them go, hey, what happened? Well, what happened was you didn't look at what you were doing. You didn't look at sustainability. And that, to me, when you're talking about balance in tourism, you have to be responsible with how you invite and who you invite into your community. So that's your marketing. What are you saying? Who are you trying to bring in? And is it sustainable? Can the community actually, it's like Woodstock, can the community actually harbor what's going to happen?
Oh, the Woodstock Festival, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Do they have the facilities? Are they ready for it? And if they're not, then it can't happen again, and it has a bad rap. So that's what, if a community is involved in tourism, they have to really understand what their marketing says. Who are they bringing into the community? When are they bringing them in? Why are they bringing them in? And making sure that they want to come back. So they have a sustainable income, and it doesn't ruin their property.
That's keeping the integrity of it, and showcasing what you have. Failure leads to success is the second key of excellence. So once you've invited too many people to the wrong place, what are you going to do?
Right.
But failure leads to success. Bobbi, tell us about on the personal side.
So failure leads to success is learn from mistakes. View failure as feedback that provides us with the information we need to learn, grow, and succeed. And you know that we've seen that so many different ways, or people say it different ways. Like, learn your mistakes that you make. We don't look at, we change how we view mistakes. So that's why we call it, that something to learn from our mistakes. It's not a bad thing. It's like, oh, what it showed is we tried, we took action, we did something. I can make no mistakes by doing nothing and not growing. So it's, the thing is to make mistakes fast and learn from them and keep growing and make them fast.
Right. And we say in the tourism side, failure leads to success. We say make lemonade. View negative community attributes as opportunities to enhance, improve, and enrich. So just like Nancy, what you're saying with the beach, it's like, okay, we made a mistake here. Now let's put up some precautions for the beach, right? Let's put up some things like, hey, I look at, government shutdown was a big drama, and and it was a big deal, and I'm going to say there was some failures on all levels. Even personal failures of people going to parks that were supposedly closed but couldn't shut them out, and not taking care of their bathroom habits. They really didn't. And since that, volunteers went out and cleaned up the bathrooms, cleaned up people's waste from individual parks. Joshua Tree was one of the most notable ones of that, because there's no gate. It's part of a highway system. And so people went and cleaned up their community. There again, integrity. And also at the same time, they learned, well, we're going to put these systems in for next time. They ended up in the news, and now, Joshua Tree is still battling over being overrun, but they made some positive changes to how to handle being overrun all the time, which they're really popular now. Ever since the centennial.
But it's interesting when a directive comes from the top, and the top doesn't understand the bottom. It's an interesting thing.
You have to say bottom when I'm talking about human waste, really?
No, okay, but we're going to close all the parks. Well, it's not as if all the parks have gates that draw in and get locked. People can go in and out of a park anytime they want in a lot of the parks, whether they pay a fee or not. That's really almost on the honor system. So it's kind of it was silly
Yeah.
to think you could close down the parks, because what it really meant was the people who maintained the parks weren't allowed to be there to make sure nothing bad happened to the parks. So closing down the parks didn't keep the public out. It kept the people who maintained the parks out.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of volunteers came through.
Yeah, so that was kind of like, maybe hopefully once they've done that, tried that, they might refigure what they might like. Failure, that was a failure. Hopefully they learned from that experience so that next time they feel like closing parks down, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Well, now, Nancy, speak with good purpose is the next key of excellence. So
I am, because
Bobbi,
I mean,
how would you rate that?
I know.
Sorry, I am speaking with good purpose, because I'm saying that was a problem, and you've got to recognize it so you can fix it, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make
It
a better
is.
problem.
Come up with something that works. Put it out
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Speak with good purpose, I think, is such an important key as we go into 2020 and we're looking at, the last few years. I think the country hasn't been speaking with such good purpose. So I'd like to have a banner that I attach to our car as we travel across the country on the tour. Just, like, the air blimps or the, the sky art that happens. Speak with good purpose. Tell us about that key of excellence for individuals, because I think this is just so key, literally.
Yes. Speak with good purpose is speak honestly and kindly. Think before we speak and make sure our intentions are positive and our words are sincere. And key words in there, one is think before we speak. So many people, I'm thinking it, so I better say it. I think of it, so it's my duty to say something. Well, we don't have to say everything we think, and another key word is intentions. Our intentions to build people up or tear people down. It's one or the other. So thinking before we speak, and then think about, is my intention to build people up or make myself right and tear them down? So, and what's going to come of this? What kind of action do I want? In a relationship, it could be I'm saying something. It could be something that's difficult to say, or apologizing in some way, difficult conversations. But your intention is to get closer to the person and create more understanding and really take responsibility for yourself and move the relationship forward. So really looking at what's my end goal rather than get it off the chest and I'm thinking about it and so I'm going to say it because it's my right to say. So thinking about the impact of our words.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. And
we're kind of reactionary.
Yeah. On the tourism side, we say speak with good purposes, be positive, keep your community story and all communications positive. And you've got to think about it. Someone coming into town for the first time may have had a rough road getting in. You don't know what traffic's like. I always go through that. You don't know how long they've driven or flown, or you don't know. And your first connection with them is key. I know about how many times just you get into a hotel, you're done, you don't even want to move your car. Now you have to take your luggage, you have to deal with it. You've had like a really rough time, you've been lost, you've been down. I could do a blues song on it. You get into the hotel in Little Rock. I wrote a story about this. Doubletree. Remember, Nancy and I went in through the out and everything, and we're again in a hurry. Lost and get in there, and I'm all frazzled, and I get to the front desk and they gave us a cookie and some water. And all of a sudden they're smiling, and let me tell you, the South has hospitality to the key. They have it and it's genuine. They're like, we're going to set you up. And the bellboy, I don't even know, the bellman, I don't know what the correct term is at this point now, but he came up. He's like, girls, I'm going to take care of you. He came out, opened the car door. He's like, no, I got you. He loaded up things. And I'm like, no, I got to move the car. He's like, no, you can relax. You're here now. And he took us up to our different rooms. On the way up, shared everything about our rooms. Oh, you've got the river view of the Arkansas River. Nancy's got the room that's going to show you the capital city. oh my gosh, you've got the best rooms of the hotel. You've got this. Oh, and I was like, well, we're here. We've never been in Little Rock. Oh, you've never been. Oh, let me tell you, what kind of food do you like? What this whole day, all of a sudden, I like forgot about the car. Like, you
Mhm.
know, I was like relaxed and I'm like happy. And this guy just totally between the two, when we checked in to
Mhm.
there and we got a cookie. But so speaking with a good purpose could include a cookie, okay? It could change everything.
But
That,
then we also checked into a hotel, which didn't have anybody at the desk, and you just check in with your phone.
yeah,
And
Oh.
that was I
there's
found
no
it to be
speaking at all.
really cold. And on the
Yeah.
other hand, there's a side of me that goes, okay, well, if you're really in a hurry, it's like, oh, cool, I don't have to talk to anybody. But there's part of travel is meeting and talking to people. So it kind of, I felt really, I was like, oh, are we, what, now in a spaceship or something? It was weird.
Hmm.
It was just weird to check in with your phone and go to your room. It was odd. I didn't
It
like
is
it.
like you have to really balance that
Yeah,
efficiency, productivity,
yeah,
and the other side is relationship
yeah.
and friendliness or connection. So, yeah, it's there's
That was
something to say for both sides.
Hmm.
mm,
Yeah, I think because some
yeah.
people want that real fast thing, so you have to have both. Um, because speak
It
with
was
good
weird.
purpose is part of hospitality 101, whether you're a
Yeah.
shopkeeper, a restaurant, even, the car shop,
Mhm.
tourism and hospitality spans every business in some way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Every part of a community, when someone comes in and just stops in the town and gets gas, it's helping your school kids be
Oh
funded
yeah.
to go to school. It
Mhm.
all impacts that ripple effect of the tourism dollar, and you've got to do it right. And that's what we're talking about today. This is it. Oh, I don't want to jump up. This is it. One of my favorite keys too, is is I know, and
Mhm.
I'm jump starting. So
I
this is the
know.
fourth key of excellence, and this was the key of excellence when we started our tour 7 years ago, Bobby. Remember?
Wow.
and
Oh
in
Mhm.
my
at
gosh.
Quantum Learning
Mhm.
Network, and we're like, it was right at this, beginning of the centennial of, we were looking towards the centennial in 2012. Wait, no, we're longer than that. 2012 April, we announced we were going to do the tour. We weren't on the road 100%. It was called the Spirit of America Tour. That will lead us to the flexibility key of excellence when we get to change our name.
Yes.
But Spirit of America Tour, we started in April 2012 in Quantum Learning, near
Yeah.
Center, going, okay, this is it. And the first park we did under that auspice was Cabrillo National Monument right next to you. But this is it. It was like, you seize the day, right? So you talk about the personal. Obviously, I'm just talking too much on this. I like this key.
I know. It's one of the students' favorite too. We do little surveys and just put out that, okay, students'
Mm.
favorite key is this is it. It's make the most of every moment and focus your intention on the present moment and keep a positive attitude. So there's so much that happens, and to know we have choice, that word keeps coming up a lot, but a
Mm.
choice to keep a positive attitude and just if there's things you can't change, well, just make the best of it and say, this is it. I can't change it. So here we go.
Ooh,
Mm.
I like that. I like that a lot. In tourism, we say this is it is attention to detail. Stay
Mhm.
focused and tuned into your community and visitor needs, because it is about, checking into the hotel. Have
Mhm.
they changed their bedding over the last 20 years? That kind of thing. Because that attention to detail, this is it. Someone's checking in. They've made that spur of the moment. I'm going to travel here, land there. They think it's going to be great. They've seen you on TripAdvisor. You arrive, and
Mhm.
now you're going to be disappointed if that attention
But
to detail hasn't been there.
well, and first impressions
Hmm.
mean a lot. Because you can call, the downstairs and say, hey, this is wrong, that's wrong, and we need this and we need that. You can make it all right, but your first impression when you walk into your room and you walk into the hotel, you want to feel, basically you want to feel you made the right decision by choosing that particular hotel or bed and
Hmm.
breakfast, whatever it is. And you don't like it when it isn't right, because you made the decision to go there. And it goes beyond. It just you don't want to feel you made the wrong decision. And so it's people. This is it. This is a moment you paid for it. You walked in and it's like, okay, was I right or wrong? And
you
it helps.
already made it.
Yeah, exactly.
You promised
It's
this.
like
and everybody, hotel rooms, stop with a fisheye lens. Like, we know now you're hiding that you're a small room. Just rather say it's a cozy room. So what you represent on your website should be exactly what people get when they get there. It's like that representation that goes back to speak with good purpose, right? Integrity. The other thing to bring up, this is it. It's be in the moment. Live your best life too. It's like, that goes with balance as well. But this is it. To me, is also about an event. Communities hold these events. It's one of the first cornerstones of creating, friction of like, hey, we're here. Come to our town. We have this event. Here's a reason why you should. And that's the first thing in tourism, is to create events. And attention to detail is important. Your parking, do you have bathrooms, do you have this and that, and an event, and then all of a sudden, here it is, the event happens. Like, here it is, we just did the Christmas parade, or the electric light parade here in Yuma, Arizona, and all of a sudden the parade's happening. It's happening. Your details all come into place right there and then. As the person in the parade, the person organizing it, spectators are waiting. I mean, I know it from doing live radio shows. It's like, we're on air. Is everything working? We've had the good and the bad, and and is it going to work out? And this is it. And you're going to have to, no matter what goes wrong or right, make the most of it. I think that's the thing, right? These events.
It is. It's accepting the present moment. Like, this is it right now, and then you can evaluate what are the things I can do something about, and what are the things I can't. So the things that you can't do anything about, that's definitely, this is it. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
And I'm here in this moment. Accept it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we ended up sleeping outside Petrified Forest National Park. Because
in the car.
Okay, so we were talking about parks being open even during the government shutdown. So I was used to places like Joshua Tree, you just go. Well, Petrified Forest, they close it. Like, you can't get in at night. And when we drove from Colorado down through, we're like, oh, we'll just go camp and, well, no, you won't. So we found ourselves sleeping outside Petrified Forest National Park, and woke up. But it was a full moon. It was magical. The stars were heavy. Like, we felt like we were being bathed by the moon and the stars, and just, and we were prepared. We knew we were going to camp out and do car camping across America. Here we go. Just because we were doing a long road trip back from Colorado to Yuma. And we were there, and the next morning, the sun is rising. It's the most amazing sunrise, and then there's teepees and dinosaur shadows in our face, because like there were teepees and dinosaur statues outside of us. It was a super cool thing, but we didn't know, we didn't plan, and that's it. You're going to make the most of it, and we did. We had sandwiches and wine in the front seat of the car, sleeping outside Petrified Rocks and dinosaurs. So it worked.
Awesome.
You just got to make the most of it. The next key of excellence is commitment. This is huge, because whenever you do anything, right, Bobbi, that's the thing. You're going to have to, if you're going to go for a walk, you got to commit to it, right? No matter what it is.
So commitment is about making your dreams happen. Take positive action and follow your vision unwaveringly. And when I think about commitment, it's like, first of all, it's a choice, because you don't commit to everything. Your life would be overly busy and crazy if you committed to everything. But really look at what's important to you. This is how, as we always talk about, the keys overlap and support each other. But a commitment really is knowing that, what is my vision? What is my goal? What am I going for? What am I committed to? And then when you make that commitment and you're clear, that's where it's following it unwaveringly. You don't have to decide, should I do this or not do this? If it's something to further your goal, you do it. And so that's as you say, another powerful key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commitment is when you look at it on the tourism aspect, we say make your community vision happen. You know, everybody gets in the room. You can have a gazillion meetings all you want, but you got to actually do it. And is take consistent positive action to maintain your community identity and to fulfill its vision. So it really goes into bringing integrity into there, right? And this is it. It's all part of that. And really go for it. And that means you're only going to be able to do that with a community.
Well, Bruce Lee says, balance your thoughts with action. If you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done.
Yeah.
And I really like that because it's a balance key, but it's also about commitment. And it's almost like all the 8 keys. Like if you come on now, let's do it. And I see like when community and there's committee meetings and all that happens, sometimes at some point you have to make a decision and follow through and do it.
Didn't that happen with the Youth Success Program, the Community Alliance for Youth Success Program in Oceanside?
I was going to say that sometimes you can overplan things. Like you plan so much that you never take action because, there's more research, there's more planning. And so it is that balance, too, of knowing when you've planned enough and then it's just like go forward. Like you brought up the Youth Success Week we did was total community involvement. And we set a date for an event. That's always a great motivator because it's like do that day.
You're gonna do it.
And you have to be ready. And at whatever point you're ready, it's going to happen. So, yeah. So you're committed to make it happen and do everything you can to have it. But sometimes it's out of your control, and the event happens, and of course that brings in the flexibility key.
Oh, right. I love that. Oh, yeah. Events always bring in the flexibility key. That goes hand in hand, right? But it's true. I mean, because there's meetings, there's planning, preparation. But if you don't have that, make it happen, that spark, then it's like, okay, you're going to start to dwindle and your commitment starts to fade. You could have a great idea. I'm committed to this. And then you have meetings. And if you don't take that step forward, I always think just take a step. Just start taking the steps beyond the meetings. Take that next step, whatever it is. Go make that one thing. And I feel like in meetings, everybody should have an action step that they do right there and then. Like, I'm going to do this. Next time we meet, I would have filled that. And then what are we going to do there? The next action step. So that.
And commit to it.
And commit to it. You have to do it. Unless it's barring a really big emergency, do it. And if not, you're out. No, kidding. It's not a reality show, but I feel like that you really have to have that with us with the tour. We were on the road for 3 years and we went back home to Tucson for 3 years, but we still covered parks. We still kept going in parks all around us. Then we're on the road again. It's like we did the tour that way because it was part of that commitment. It's like, if we're going to do this, we might as well go all the way in, and we'll be flexible. We're going to get to that key as long as we can because it's about getting to that goal. It's about doing what we do. It's like you have to do it. It's your commitment. If you are committed to doing it and you keep taking action, it's going to work. It's just going to work at the end. Ownership. I love this key, especially for youth, and especially I think communities need to do that because the blame game is so deep and it's running too deep in this country right now. So let's talk about ownership.
Ownership is taking responsibility for actions. Be responsible for our thoughts, feelings, words, and actions. Own the choices we make and the results that follow. And I, love that. I think that's my favorite line. Own the choices we make and the results as follow. Because there is no blaming others. It's like owning our choices. And the magic in this key too is that the power is in taking ownership. The power is saying, this is what happened and I take full responsibility for what happened. People respect you for that and you feel better about yourself. So the below the line, the blame game, the justifying, the denying, quitting when it's not appropriate. All those things are, you don't feel good about yourself and people don't respect you. So there's a big difference if you're, we call it above the line or below the line.
Well, if you take ownership and it is something you did or caused to happen and you take ownership, then you can change it.
And you can forgive yourself too.
But if you don't, if you just walk it off and go, I didn't do it, then it sits there and it's going to be there for a long time and you can't change it.
And it's going to bite you. It's going to keep at you.
Yeah.
It'll create a lifelong of misery. And I think ownership is so huge because you know, we always talk about forgiveness in life. And you go like, how do you forgive, you know, this person did that and that? Well, it's better to take, even if you were on the negative side or something happened to you, you know, or you're like, okay, now you're the victim. Well, you actually have to take ownership of that to get past victimhood, right? And that only through ownership can you have forgiveness and move forward. And I think that is often left out of communication, is the ownership key of, because it's always like, forgive, forgive, forgive. You can't forgive without ownership, period. And ownership is an action step, which is another thing why I like it. It's like you're taking action. As soon as you take action, you feel better. No matter what's going on in the world, you've got to take action. If you're sitting and lamenting, okay, you can, whatever's going on, whatever bad happened, right? You can sit back and have your moment, but you've got to also now start making action steps. And if you don't, you're going to be the duck in the water. But also ownership is also, hey, we did this. Our community got pride. We did this. We made this happen. So ownership is also, hey, I got the Emmy. I didn't, but I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Well, people
ownership
who help
for
with
it all, the good and the bad.
Yeah, but you know, people who get involved to put on local events are taking ownership of their community and trying to bring a step forward and bring people into their community so they can see what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, and that part of taking ownership is being involved.
Yeah, that's what we say.
You
Ownership. Go ahead, Bobbi.
You used a word several times now, and that's forward. And I love that because that's so key. All the things you're saying, and then you end it with, and you move forward. And you know, that should almost be part of the definition is, you know, you do this and it moves your life forward.
Yeah.
Well, I think excellence is that, right? We always talk about the difference between success and excellence. Success is I reached goal A. Ownership is, I mean, not ownership, excellence is I have a series of goal A's and B's and C's and D's, and I'm just going to keep going and living this life in that. So it's a multiplier, right? When you think about.
And it's who you are as a person, because we always say excellence is good qualities and a high degree. And I just love that. It's like you feel good about yourself when you have all these qualities, and you can feel good about your actions and interactions and results that are happening and feel good about it. So, you know, it's the good qualities, and people see that. It's like sometimes you say the sparkle detector, you know, people see those good qualities in you, and it defines who you are.
Yeah, it's more than wearing, like, there's like, oh, that, you know, grace. Grace is, like, to me, a very interesting word, grace. Name, a person's name. You can have grace and elegance, but you can only have grace and elegance if you have integrity and you're living that. You know, grace and elegance doesn't come from wearing a pretty dress or wearing high-heeled shoes. You have to wear it and be it, right? That's the truth. That's part of what beauty is in life, is you have to, it's ownership again. And everyone on the tourism key, it is be part of the solution. Take ownership of your community with positive and responsible actions. And I think I get excited about this stuff on the community side, and how communities can improve. Communities across America are going through so many challenges, where it's budget, could be drug issues, just so many issues. We've seen a lot of it, and we've also seen a lot of, Bobbi, honestly, this year of 2019, so many communities working together. And I think sometimes you have to have issues, like bigger issues, so that you can come, like Nancy always says that when the aliens come and get us, then we're all going to work together. But we're seeing that with communities
stop
across
fighting.
the country. Communities come together. We're seeing it. And I know the news says this and that, and yes, this and that is happening. But when you go into communities and you see their events, you see people come together, all ages. This is what's great about right now, too. There's a span of generations. We were in Natchitoches, Louisiana. When we went to the folk festival, the 40th annual event, we saw, bands, Zydeco bands, with their basically babies all the way up to their 90-plus-year-old
Their great-grandfathers.
Yeah, performing together.
Cool.
And good music. So I wonder about this. That's what I think excellence is. It's a commitment to also keeping that tie together. Community is still family. Flexibility. Ha ha ha.
One of your favorites.
I love it.
Yes. Because we're always changing here at Big Blend. That's why we get to be Big Blend. Because every day, just turn the key and there'll be something new.
Yeah.
It's an important key because life moves really fast these days. We have a lot on our plate. If you're not flexible, man, you're going to be down and out. I mean, you just can't not be flexible. You really have to be to even negotiate a whole day.
I know.
Yes.
So, yeah, Bobbi, flexibility. Tell us the personal 8 keys side.
Yes, it's be willing to do things differently, recognize what's not working, and be willing to change what you're doing to achieve your goal. So it's one of those that you have to put your ego aside.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you talking about? No. Well, flexibility is cool. It's be willing, when tourism, be willing to do things differently. So a city ordinance comes in and says you can't do this. Well, now you got to be more creative, right? It's about recognize what's not working and be willing to change your plan of action to achieve your community goals and vision. You have to do that every time. Tourism has changed. Like in the hotel world, there's only 2 main booking things anymore. It's booking.com, expedia.com. They own everything. So now you're going to have to change up. It used to be that people would just call you for a booking. Now you have all these online things. So there's all these changes, some of it being actually very profitable and good for people. Airbnb, some people like it, some people don't. But you had to change up at some point. And if you don't, you can't, some people are still a cash only business, and it works if you're small and like you're, some places it works if you don't change because everybody else has changed around you. So that's also an interesting thing, Bobbi. Seeing that.
Yes, it is. There's a wonderful book out there. It's called Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. And I just, it's such a great concept, and just the term or the phrase, who moved my cheese, it's like, oh, right.
Yeah.
I like it.
So balance is the eternal key. It's like embracing all 8 keys of excellence. So Bobbi, balance.
Yes, balance is live your best life. Be mindful of yourself and others while focusing on what's meaningful and important in your life.
Well, in tourism, we say build a sustainable and responsible community. Consider everything that's meaningful and important to your community and steadily grow with that vision. Nancy, I know
I think about, we say live your best life, and it's like be your best community.
Yeah, it is.
If you know who you are as a community, then you don't get overrun with tourists. I read all these, especially in Europe, like there's so much drama going on with tourism. We're like, okay, did you outline who and what you are, and how is it that you're getting tourism that you don't want? And then there's other communities like, hey, come over here. So it is really about what message are you sending out.
Yeah, it is. And keeping the integrity.
Everything speaks loudly.
Yeah, everything, right? It's true. Balance is a big deal. It is about really keeping all of these tenets together, all of these principles together. It's almost like, I want to say, every city that meets, you should go through the 8 keys as part of your agenda.
Absolutely. Yes. And when you're planning a tourism, like your strategy for tourism, you really need to, there's always a group, a handful of people on a committee, and now we're going to strategize and decide what is the tourism strategy for this community. Well, did you ask your community, number one?
Yes, that's
And I
huge.
find that's the most often left out step. No, is this going to be the people in the room who decide what the community needs and wants? And that's the first critical mistake. If you haven't gone to your community and asked them in some way for some input, then you're going to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who come to those meetings usually have a real huge self-interest in being there. They have something they want to sell, and if there's nobody else there to stop them, that's what's going to happen. So I'm not being negative, I'm being positive here. You can make a difference in your community if you so desire by showing up at meetings that talk about who's going to come to your town and why.
Making that commitment, see?
Yeah. And
exactly.
what's the town message?
It's like asking, what do we want to be known for? Because the integrity piece starts with really knowing your values and aligning on them. And if you have those list of values, and then, of course, if they adopt the 8 keys and know their principles, then everything is measured against, that and holding it really strong. You want to hold the context so strong that other things don't get traction, because that's where you're really strong.
And being sustainable is really important to a community, because they want the same kind of visitors if they're good visitors, and everybody's making money and everybody's having a good time and nobody's destroying anything. Those are the visitors. You want to sustain that. And if you don't look at sustainability, you can have 1 or 2 seasons and nobody's coming back.
Exactly. And people won't always tell you when they're having a bad time. And that's the thing. It's like now the tourism landscape has changed up because there's TripAdvisor, there's Yelp, there's Facebook.
Yeah.
People can just trash you online. And you want to make sure, circumvent that there and now. And so when we talk about that attention to detail, that this is it. When they're here, everything is, that's it. This is the moment. How have you
chance.
kept the integrity of your place or your restaurant, whatever it is, your attraction? Are you cleaning the trash up? Are you doing all these little things that, these lists? But Bobbi, I think this is the thing we were talking about. I think the 8 keys can be a checklist in business, in all the hospitality, the cities, all the tourism boards, to look at this being a checklist in what they do as they move forward in tourism, is a checklist. I like that.
People can sense it right away when they come. I think about being in balance, there's a sense of flow and peace. And if it's out of balance, you feel the stress and concern of the community.
I think so too. I want to talk about, as we close up here, because I know we're going over time because this is such a good topic. But when we look at the destinations, Nancy and I've traveled a lot, and Bobbi, I know you've done a lot of world travel and cross-country travel this year as well, especially with Super Camp. Nancy, for you, a community that you think has embraced balance, when all keys of excellence on our travels this year, what would you think would be a community you would give a thumbs up to on this?
Oh, I think some of the Central California destinations like Porterville and places like that, and the Sequoia area, they've done a really good job.
Yeah.
I think especially because the Sequoias are such a huge draw worldwide, that I think Exeter and Porterville and those areas, they have done a really, really good job of both marketing and just handling the amount of visitors that they get.
They've created the shuttle system that goes into the park in the summer. That's some of the balance keys. Also trying to get people to understand you can go to the park, but also go to the community. So there's a lighter footprint in the park being year round. And also the communities. Talk about flexibility. The agricultural community like Exeter going, okay, agriculture's changed up a little bit. We need people to come into our town. So they became one of the prettiest painted cities of America by creating murals all across their downtown, sharing the history of the town. That goes with integrity, right? And so
they think forward. I'm going to use that forward word now.
I know it's about
Forward.
thinking forward. It is. It's looking forward, looking ahead, and how do you keep that? And I think Little Rock, Nacogdoches,
Oh yeah.
both of them actually. Nacogdoches, Texas, has done a good job. Natchitoches, Louisiana, and Little Rock this year. Little Rock, it was
Oh,
a
we
big
love
surprise
Little
for
Rock.
us. Little Rock has such
Mhm.
deep roots of Civil War, civil unrest, civil rights issues, and they're on the Civil Rights Trail, Heritage Trail, and I think they have 6 sites on the Heritage Trail. And Bobbi, one of your stories that you sent us out on the stories of excellence on our Love Your Park store, and stories of youth success, and one is Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. It really changed the landscape of civil rights within schools. The Little Rock Nine is world famous for what they did. I mean, even the National Guard coming in when segregation happened in schools, in the high school, and protected them. And that changed the landscape of schools across America. And to me, this Little Rock has been a hotbed of history, and some good, some bad. And they have really embraced all of it and said, okay,
Mhm.
we're going to put it here. This is what happened. And this is how we're moving ahead. And they also renovated their entire downtown Little Rock. So you've got these contemporary buildings next to the old state capitol building and all these historic sites. They have historic graveyards. They have the Arkansas River. They have art coming in everywhere, public art all over the place. Art tours, yet we went on this art walk, the second Friday art walk, I think it is second Friday, and
Mhm.
we just went
Oh, it's so
downtown,
much fun.
and you go from place to place and you have wine and eat a little snack and watch art demonstrations or music, and we basically met the community. And it was this complete blend, we love the word blend, of people and ages and cultures, and it was
It's amazing.
one of the most amazing nights of my life, of everyone coming together. And it kind of like, you're not erasing the past, you're embracing it and moving forward again. Here we go. But
Mhm.
honoring the past, I can't, to me this was the balance. They're balancing the new with the history. It was amazing. I just,
Mhm.
that's key. Do you find that also happening in your community, Bobbi, or in places that you've been, with that kind of unification?
I think part of it is events bring people out,
Mm-hmm.
reasons to connect, because often people get busy with their own world or things are happening. They're not involved or taking responsibility or joining in the conversation. But when we have events and, um, that we've done the Youth Success Week here in Oceanside, and that, in some years there's higher involvement and others lower involvement because of change in people or priorities that are happening in the community, but that thread still continues. And it's doing events and getting people out and showing them how they can get involved because they don't often know how. And so, making a stand, that we had the 8 key flags one year down the main street, and keys were on the buses, and
Mm-hmm.
pharmacy was acknowledging students in their stores for good behavior, and the keys were taught in every single classroom. So it became a common language for the whole community, and that draws it together. And then you have years where, we had such strong support from the superintendent, the mayor, the key big businesses in town, and people coming forward and supporting. And then you get a lot of movement and new people, and they're trying to figure out the town and move forward. So, sustainability can be something that just takes continual focus because there's change, and being
Mhm.
flexible with one year to the next and what's appropriate for that year.
Mm-hmm. And sustainability is about consistency. I look at it that way, right? Like what you're saying,
Mhm.
it's sustainability is, yes. So sustainability is, yes, look at your environment side, right? Are you chopping down all your trees and not planting, kind of thing? But there's also sustainability is, you've got to have a cash flow that comes into a community as well. So what are you doing that's consistent? Because you've got to have your economic base, and when your economic base of your community goes down, that's when negative things happen. So sustainability is about money too. Just saying. It is. I'm just
one
saying.
of the things like with balance is something you have to work on and create, not only for yourself in your personal life, but in a community. It's not something you just like find.
Mm-mm.
You have to create it, which gives you all the control if you think about it that way.
Well, and that's part of the excellence factor, right? So it's consistency and it's a lifestyle. Excellence is a lifestyle, but you have to work at it. You don't just achieve it and then go, oh, I did that now. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow, Bobbi, always so cool. I know. And we went over time. I know. Always so cool to have you on the show. And I encourage everyone go to supercamp.com. Really, the 8 keys, go 8keys.org. And if you're in the education world, go to qln.com. We're hoping to visit Bobbi soon up in Oceanside. We got to come visit. It's been a long time, and it's time.
I know.
It's like, what, 2 years? Something. I don't know, but we got to get back there.
It's time.
Oceanside's beautiful. I want to go walk the pier. I love that. It's perfect 1 hour walk. We love our 1 hour walks. Also, everybody, balance, the 8 keys of excellence, balance in tourism. The article is up on nationalparktraveling.com. You can go read it there, as well as all the other 8 keys. So we have a 9 series, because the first one is going over the keys, and the last one is redoing that too, because it's about living them all and working them all into your community. So we have a 9-point system of that, and so you can check that all at nationalparktraveling.com. The article is also in the January-February issue of Parks and Travel magazine, so just go to nationalparktraveling.com. Of course, Big Blend Radio, keep up with us. We air Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Just go to bigblendradio.com. You can listen on all kinds of outlets, whether it's Google Podcasts, Apple, Spreaker, iTunes, iHeart, whatever. It's all there. So there's all kinds of platforms. And of course, we love to play music. So today's song is Sands of Time, because, we were talking about the past and the future being part together, right? And that's part of balance, the integrity, and how do you balance, the history of an area and then move to the future. So Sands of Time, that song really speaks to that. It is by Bay Station, an awesome band based out of the Bay Area. And Bobbi, Supercamp's in the Bay Area, right? They're outside, right by Berkeley and that area. You guys are out there, right?
Well, we're at Stanford University in the Bay Area.
Okay, so Stanford.
Yeah.
So So 10, is it 7 or 10 days that when Super Camp happens?
Well, the senior high program is 10 days, and the junior high program or middle school is 7 days.
Okay, so again, everyone, supercamp.com, check it out. But here it is, Sands of Time by Bay Station. Is from their album Other Desert Cities. They did this off of doing a trip to Joshua Tree National Park. So check that out. Go to their website, baystationband.com. Thanks so much, Bobbi.
Thanks, you. Bobbi.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us as well.
Sand in my shoes. Now the sand by the door, from walking in the desert with you. Sand by the door.